Okay, good morning everyone, and I hope my voice is clear and audible to all of you. Are you able to hear my voice, guys? Excellent, superb, guys. So happy Sunday. Let's start our day with a very positive note and let's start working on two projects on DevOps. Right now I've decided, guys, that usually once in a 15 days we'll have this kind of sessions where I'll try to add more projects and try to put you into that so that you may able to understand more about it. So we are going to talk about two projects today, end-to-end projects we will try to work with almost all automation. So let me just explain you that what is the first project we are going to work with. See, first project we are going to do is to deploy an app on Docker container, right? Using few things, guys. What it is, first we'll be using Git and GitHub, where, or let's say GitHub, where your code is uploaded. By whom? By developer. Second thing, I want to integrate this fellow with Jenkins so that the pipeline is created and automation should be completed. Third thing, I want this particular thing to be taken by Docker using the code what is given by developer. Docker should create one image, right? And this image should be uploaded into Docker Hub. And from there, this image should be downloaded and using Docker Compose, the image should be created. Now, basically, Docker Compose is a file that will allow you to create multiple containers, create it also and delete it also. So for this particular thing, you need a good EC2 machine or maybe Linux machine. In our case, we'll take Ubuntu. You can go with Amazon Linux also. And I request you to take a big instance. You know why? Because if you work on a small instance, there is a chance that memory might get exhausted. So basically what you can do, you can take T3 large that gives you around 8 GB memory. Okay, so that we are going to consider. And after logging into our machine, we will install, right, Docker and Docker Compose, two tools you have to install to complete this operation. And definitely you have to make Jenkins also installed, and then we will configure it and we will work with that. So let us start working on this. So scenario, how it goes, you see here you are having developers. Let me take a good picture of developers clip art. Okay. So let's take this fellow. Suppose developers are here and these people, they have written a, okay, one developer or group of developer, they have written the code and they upload this code into GitHub repository. You know why we keep it on GitHub repository? So that version controlling should also be done. And second thing is it can be shared by other people. And from here, I want to take that code, and this code I wanted to use with CI/CD pipeline, which is being integrated using Jenkins. Now, what Jenkins should do, it should send this particular app or code so that it should be included into a container. How it will be doing? It will be doing it with the help of Docker. Docker is going to create one image. Now, once the image is ready, we want this image to be uploaded on Docker Hub. Why on Docker Hub? Because Docker Hub contains the images where I can keep it, from where anybody can download that image and use it. Now, once it is used, maybe on the same machine or the other machine, wherever you are working, what you want is you want to deploy that application. Which application? Node.js. So this application is written in Node.js. So Node.js application will be deployed. Now basically it can be anything. It can be simple Java app or Node.js app, or maybe it can be a Python app or any other app, whatever it might be. So here we have to do this workflow in the form of a pipeline. So let us see guys how to work with that. First of all, I'm going to launch a new instance. So let us go to our AWS environment where we are going to work with this. So let us go to Hyderabad region, because here we are having lots of resources and we can work with that. So let me launch an instance, and I'm going to launch it a pretty big instance. Okay. So let me say DevOps project. Okay. So we'll go for Ubuntu. You can go with Amazon Linux also, but I'm preferring Ubuntu, as mostly people use Ubuntu for such kind of critical projects, and you should know how to work on this also. Overall, the process is same only. And here, instead of T3 micro, I'm going to take T3 or T2 large. Here you are going to have 8 GB memory. Okay, so I'm going to take it, or you can take with 16 GB also if you want, so that the things must be working very fine. So doesn't matter, let me take 16 GB memory. You can take at least large, but I'm taking 16 GB memory over here. Next thing, the key pair, whatever key pair you are having. In security group, I'm going to create a new security group. So let me edit it, and I'll say create a new security group. I'm going to call it DevOps project security group. Here also, I'm going to call it DevOps project security group. See, in this, you have to allow SSH. Why? Because Linux based communication has to be there. Now, can anyone tell me that this fellow, Jenkins, it runs on which port number? Do anybody remember Jenkins use which port number? So I'll say SSH. No one? Sure, no problem. I'll tell you. Jenkins run on port number 8080. Right? And I want to allow this connectivity from anywhere. Usually here you have to select my IP, so that only your IP is accessible. But because we want Jenkins to be integrated with other tools also, I'm keeping the connectivity to be available from everywhere. So this I'm going to call it as Jenkins. All right. So two port number as of now I am allowing. Going forward, we'll integrate with Sonar Cube and other thing, and we will take those also in our next project. Over here, the size also I'll take a little bigger. Maybe I'll take 30 GB, so that I may be working over here with a bigger kind of space, because we are going to do lots of activity. It needs this particular space. At least 25-28 GB is must for this project. Leave everything as it is and let us launch the instance. Now, first step, what you have to do is to install these things. Now, where I have kept this project, see over here, the developer will do all the coding part, and they will upload it onto GitHub repository. So what I did, this project, what I'm going to show you, I have kept it on my GitHub repository. So what you can do, you can simply fork it out. I hope you know what is forking. If not, let me show you. Suppose you search for any repositories over here, whatever you are looking for. Maybe you are searching for a repository, let's say DevOps project, something like that. Okay. Or maybe here globally I can search. For example, I'll say search for DevOps projects. See, GitHub is a community where so many people are going to keep their projects and other things for that people may easily able to learn it. So you can just suppose maybe I want this techie scam DevOps project. So what you can do if I wanted to get this project into my repository, you can simply go to fork. What is this forking? Forking means just like that fork what we use for eating. So we'll pick it up and we'll copy this project into our repository. So the moment you say fork, it asks you to give it some name. For example, I'll say DevOps project Musab. So it says the name is available, right? Now, when you say create a fork, it takes a very small amount of time and the whole project will be forked or copied into your repository. So now the address will be DevOps project Musab. If you say go to the code, here you see github.com Musab Sayed and my project. So what I'll do here is something like that. I don't really want this particular thing. Anyway, I'll delete it later. So what I did, same like this, I have kept my project with the name Musab SYD note to do CI/CD. So what I'll do, I'll just share this code with you people. See, I'm just pasting this location into your WhatsApp, this chat, and I'll also keep in the documents Google Drive link also, but please preserve this link for your reference. So here you will find our project with different options. Like you see, you're having a simple project. I'm going to show you two projects. One is the simple DevOps project, another one is DevOps SecOps, which is very, very important for security purpose. Now in this you have Kubernetes, and you are having Google Kubernetes concept also, Terraform, different options are there. So you can practice that on your own. Today I'll show you two. One is a normal project, other one will with the improved security, which is being asked a lot in your resumes and also maybe in interviews you need to go with that. So here you see your developer is going to give us some code files like test.js, package JSON, package log JSON, app.js, and maybe this view. You also have readme file. Normally this readme file, what will be there guys? Readme file is going to have some important contents inside it. Like sometimes developer want to say you something that see do this, do not this, do that, do not this. So in that case what you can do is you can go for readme document. Here we haven't kept anything, right? Right. And one more thing, this project is not purely mine. I have also got it by somebody else and I have modified it so that we can use it as per our requirements. Anyway, so first step is you need to go to GitHub repository and fork your repository so that you can keep it as long as you want. Okay, right. Now here you are having all the things that you are going to use. Chalo, let's come back and let us start working with our Linux machine. So here is my Linux machine. Let me just copy the public IP and let us log in into Ubuntu. Okay, so let me log in over here. I would need to change the key because I think I have removed the old keys concept where it is Gautam 9 a.m. This is the key. So let me come up over here and one more thing I want to do. Right, keep alive is also active. All right, so let's open it. First step, you have to log in as Ubuntu user. few very interesting things we are going to go through during this particular thing, guys, because you need to learn all those things how we have to work with. Now, first step, you have to install Docker and Docker Compose. So what I recommend is go to official website and go for it. Docker and Docker Compose install on Ubuntu. See, there will be an official page over here. So let us go to official page and let us see what are the steps it is telling you to install it, right? So it says if there is any previous things, remove it. In our case, there is no previous things that is available. Set up Docker's apt repository. See here, what it is going to do is it is going to download everything from internet, right? So there is a repository what Docker maintains. So it is asking us that go to that particular thing and install this particular thing from there. So you can go for this particular method and you can go for it. Just simply copy this particular thing first of all, then paste it over here. Just we have to do copy paste, guys, mostly. So what it is doing, it has setting up the repository. Once the repository is set up, then we will install Docker Compose that will help us to automatically create container and remove the container. Whenever you have series of containers to be created, you can ask Compose to create and remove that particular thing. So, okay, it is done. Once it is done, next thing is we have to update and install the version. Okay. Now, next thing it is asking us that, okay, so it has done almost everything, I guess, right? It has done adding the repository, adding the Docker. Fantastic. You can just say apt update. What it does, or sudo apt update. What it does is it is going to update the list of all the packages that are available. Now let us install Docker. See, this is the command to install it. Let's copy it again from here and let's paste it. So first step, you got all the required thing from internet. Second thing, now you are installing all those required components. Docker you have installed and Docker Compose you are installing. All right. Now, if I say Docker hyphen version, whichever the latest version is there, it is installed. You can also say Docker Compose. Oh, so it seems that Docker Compose is not installed. Why is it not installed? Obviously, it should get installed directly only, but I don't know why it has not installed. Not to worry, there are other ways to install Docker Compose. I'll show you what is that to install. Just give me a second. Let me open one notepad and I'll show you from where you can get that Docker Compose concept. All right. Now, as we are not able to find the compose properly available, just use these three lines. This also I'll be sharing with you people in our project Google Drive link where you can just go ahead and work with this. Done. But still there will be one problem here. Now, if you see systemctl status Docker, it will tell you that Docker is enabled, Docker is running. You can also check Docker Compose. See, now Docker Compose is also installed. First we have installed Docker. Second we have installed Docker Compose. Now if I say Docker ps-a, it says permission denied while trying to connect. See why the permission is denied, why it is not allowing me to work with. So in this case, what you have to do is there will be one group, guys. Go to etc group. There is a group called Docker. Now this Docker group does not have our current user. into this group, so it is not able to work with that. So what you need to do, sudo user mod add a user or append the user into a group. Which group? Docker group. What is the username? See, your current username you can give, or simply you can ask shell to find out my username. If it is confusing, you simply type the current username, what it is, Ubuntu. I want to give this user power to do Docker operations. See, after installing Jenkins, you have to add Jenkins user also into this so that this fellow should be getting the power. So what I'll do now is I will leave it here. Next step, we will go and we will install Jenkins. See, again, we'll go to official page to get this particular thing. So what I'll do, I'll go to jenkins.io download. Official website, we will go and we will find the steps. So over here, you see you have to go with stable version. LTS means what? Long term support. Don't go for weekly. Okay. So here it is telling you for LTS, which version do you want to install? Ours is Ubuntu. If you are using Rocky and other things, or maybe Amazon Linux, you have to go here. So let's go to Ubuntu. Now see, one thing is that Jenkins depends on Java. So before installing Jenkins, you also need to install Java also. Anyway, first of all, let us get the key through which the installation would work. Just copy and paste. So first step, you copy, done. Second step, again, you copy this thing from here and paste it here. Third thing, you have to again update and install first Java, then you install Jenkins. Okay, so let me copy all the things and let's paste it here. So first it is going to get itself updated, all the repositories. Then it is going to install Java as well as Jenkins. See, Jenkins does not work if you haven't installed Java. The dependencies for Jenkins is Java. Let us give it some time to finish. Okay, so now it might be installing Jenkins. So remember the first step, we have created an EC2 instance with a bigger size, 4 CPUs, 16 GB RAM. And then first thing we did is we have installed Docker. After that, we have installed Docker Compose. Then we have set some permission so that our user must get access to Docker commands. Then we are installing Jenkins. Now, once Jenkins is installed, right, you can do one more thing over here. You can go to user mod, append a group, again Docker, and this time I'm going to add Jenkins. I need to use sudo command here to perform this task. So now we have to reboot, or you have to log out in order to work with that. Let's see, I'll go with systemctl, or maybe I'll go with docker ps-a. See, still it is not working. Why it is not working is you need to log out and log in, or better reboot the machine to fix this issue. So what I'll do, I'm going to say reboot, sudo reboot. What it does, it is going to refresh the thing. So remember the steps what we have done. First we have created instance, we have created Docker, you have created Docker Compose. Then you could have installed Jenkins, then add Jenkins as well as current user into Docker group. Why? So that they may have access to Docker commands. Let's restart the session again. Maybe it is rebooted now. Now if I say docker ps-a, see, it is working. So rebooting is mandatory. After adding the user into the group, you can restart this particular thing, right? So now the things are ready. Jenkins is also ready. Let us log in into Jenkins server. How to log in? Take the IP. Now you see, if you go to security group, we have already allowed Jenkins over here. So if you look into inbound rules, we have allowed 8080 and port number 22. So we will not have any problem. So let us paste the IP, port number 8080. So it is taking me to Jenkins and it is telling get the initial password from here. Okay, let me read this file. Sudo cat enter. Now copy the initial password, paste it here and continue. And here it will ask you, would you like to install some most used plugin? Yes. Install suggested plugins. So it will take a little bit of time to complete this process. We'll wait for it to complete. And once it is completed, then we will again continue with creating a user password, and then we will start talking about the pipeline, what we are going to work with. Now let me discuss that how the pipeline is going to be, right? So when it comes to pipeline, this is the process what we are going to follow. See, first thing, when you create pipeline, right? Let me take a Visual Code Studio and let me create a new file here, and let me call it test pipeline or groovy pipeline. All right, so whenever you go for pipeline, first you will start with pipeline, right? And then you need to start with setting up this particular thing. Then you have to give all the structures whatever you want to work. Here one more thing you have to give, you have to say agent, which agent you want to use. For example, I'll say agent can be any agent on which I want to work with. Then you have to go with stages over here. Now in stages, again, you have to start with stage 1, stage 2, and you have to mention what you want to do in stage 1. Probably I will like to get the code, right? From where I'm going to get the code? Get code from Git. So here you have to mention that how you are going to connect to Git and what is the address of the project where you have kept it, so it will be getting. Put up a message here so that in the pipeline it will be easier for us to understand that code is downloaded. So you can say code is cloned successfully. Okay, something like that you can give over here. Now same like that you are going to add multiple stages over here. You will be starting, closing, starting, closing, starting, closing. So first stage you have done this. Second stage, what you want to do, normally guys, in a proper environment, the second stage will be scanning the code. See, you got the code. Now you cannot just blindly say that I'll use the code. You need to check the vulnerabilities, the security risk inside it. So that you will be doing with the help of SonarQube. So I'll show you about SonarQube and all later. Just over here this time what we'll do, we'll say code is scanned successfully. For example, then you have one more stage to go with. What is the next stage you will be going after getting the code? After scanning the code, you have to create Docker. So you can say create Docker image. How you will create? There will be a command using which you will be creating. Now, after the image is successful, then you will push the code to Docker Hub. And from there, you will get the code and install it. So 4 or 5 steps are there that is going to be there, what we are going to use here. So let's wait till this particular thing is done. It is asking us to create a user, give some password. HYD123 is what I'm giving, Musab, and email address, whatever email address that you want to give. Let's say save and continue. Now it says Jenkins URL is this. Okay, understood. Save and finish. So here you go. Your Jenkins is now ready. Everything seems to be fine. Now, first of all, what we have to do is we have to go to manage Jenkins, and if there are new what I can say plugins that is required, you have to download those plugins. So maybe you can go to available plugin. See, I want, what is plugin? Plugin is nothing but a small program that is used by Jenkins to connect to other tool. So what I want my Jenkins to connect to Docker. Why? Because on the Docker it is going to create image, it is going to push, it is going to upload everything. So all those things will be done with the help of Docker plugin only. So whatever tool you are going to use, for almost every tool there will be a plugin. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to say I want Docker plugin. So what I'll do, I'll select Docker plugin. Plugin integrates Jenkins with Docker. See, with Docker name, there are so many things which are available. So do not worry about anything. Just go with simple Docker. So click on install and the software will get installed. See, it's better that you restart Jenkins once the installation is completed. Why? So that there is no lagging and there is no delays available. So as soon as it is installed, the next step is restart, right? So let me just put up the steps for you guys, that what are the steps we are going to follow. First step, you have created EC2 instance with T3 or T2, anything whichever is available, T2 or T3 large. That would be also fine, or you can go with extra large so that you may get more CPU, more RAM, which will be more than sufficient for our project. Second thing, you need to log in to Ubuntu machine, right? And here you have to install Docker, Docker Compose. Right? So Docker got installed properly, but Compose was giving a problem. In fact, installing Docker is not a big deal. You don't have to go with anything. Simply you can say sudo apt install docker.io. It will be installed. But the problem is Docker Compose may not get installed properly. To help with Docker Compose, what I did, guys, I have installed it with a separate thing. So I'll put up those things also over here. Let me go to that particular directory where I have kept it. Desktop, maybe here I have kept it. Right. So probably here I might have kept the Docker Compose installation. So let me copy this. One single file will have all the steps. So to copy Docker Compose, we need to run the steps. Right. Once it is done, then third step, you need to install Jenkins. So how to install Jenkins? You can go to official Jenkins page and you'll get the steps. Okay, done. After that, fourth step, add current user, whatever user you might be using, and Jenkins. In which group? The group name is Docker group. How will you add it? So in here, you will say user mod, add or append into Docker group, currently logged in user, and you need also Jenkins. It is very important. Otherwise, Jenkins plugin cannot make any Docker, what I can say, container and any other thing. After that, you have to configure Jenkins, right? That is login and do that whatever you want to do. That means create login and all those things. After that, go to manage Jenkins, and inside it you will find plugins. So in plugins, you have to install Docker plugin, right? So up till here we are. Let's see if it is completed. Right, it is completed. If you click anywhere, if it is automatically getting reloaded, that means it is installed. Now log in with the username and the password that you have given. Once it is done, you can go to install plugin. So in download progress, you see you cannot see anything. That means it is completed successfully. Here, if you search for Docker and you see Docker plugin is installed and it is enabled. Fantastic. Let's come back to dashboard one more time. Let's go to new item. Now in a new item, we'll select pipeline and let me give a name. I'll say node to do CI CD. Whatever you want to give, you can call the name, select pipeline. Now over here, it is going to ask you description. So you can say project on CI CD pipeline, whatever that you want, you can give it over here. Next thing, leave everything as it is. Here you have to write your pipeline script. See, you can simply go to that project page where we have left it, and here you can find there is a Jenkins file. So if you want, you can simply copy this all steps and start working with that. But if you want to type on your own, then you can take an hello world sample. So here you see first step, it is telling pipeline agent any. Agent any means, see, Jenkins work on master and slaves. So it can use any slave, that is I'm telling. If you want a specific slave, you have to mention the name of that slave, what you have configured. So in our case, it is okay. I don't want to worry about it. So here, let's configure the stages. Stage one, I want to get the code. From where you are going to get the code, here you have to mention that step, guys, right? So here you see this brackets what you are opening, that should also be closed properly, guys. So stage one bracket is open, inside it one stage one more bracket is open, and here there is one more bracket that is closed. So these brackets you have to take care, very importantly. Now maybe if you have one more stage, simply you do one thing, just copy this thing and paste it here. Maybe I'm having 5 stages. So what I'll do, I'll just copy it, Control C and Control V. Second stage, maybe let's call it stage 1 coding. Second stage, I'll say, for example, scanning the code. See, scanning the code is also very important because you must check if the code is good or does it have any vulnerabilities, bugs, or any other thing. So as of now, I'll just say one thing. Okay, here you can keep messages all the time, guys. What message? Code cloned successfully. That means I have downloaded the project from Git or GitHub. Second, maybe I want to say cloning is successful, or sorry, the scanning is successful. So you can say code scan is successful. What is echo? Echo is just a way of printing messages. That's it. For example, if you want to say anything, I'll say echo hi, echo bye. It just print messages, right? Echo, not eki, my mistake. So whenever you are typing anything, it is going to return the same string. That is nothing but this particular thing. Okay. Now, again, if you have one more code, so just come up over here and paste one more stage here. Maybe the third stage, what I'll do is I'm going to create an image. So I'll say create image or for container or create image, whatever you want to call. Again, or we can say build. That looks more professional. So build means you are building the code. So you can say echo code or app build or image, better word, image built successfully. Once the image is built, what is the next thing you will be doing here, guys? So once the image is built, the next thing you will be doing is you will be uploading that image to Docker Hub. So one more stage I am going to create here. Okay. So one mistake I am doing here continuously. Stages should not be repeated again and again. This is the very common mistake I generally do. Let me remove this particular thing. I'll start from the beginning. So these stages should not be repeated. Inside it, just stage you have to repeat. That is the mistake I'm doing. So first step, I'll get the code. So I'll say this is the code and a message, code downloaded successfully, or code copied successfully, or code cloned successfully. Whatever message that you want to type, you can type, right? Now, just to see here, one tag, second tag. So we have to copy these two only. That was a mistake what I was doing. Under stages, there are multiple stages. So you should not copy stages again and again. That was the mistake I was doing. What is the second thing? Scan. So in this, what I'm going to do, I'm going to scan the code. So I'll say code scanned successfully. Okay. All right. Then again, after two tags, let's paste the third stage. The third stage is to build the code. So let's call it build. And here I'm going to say code built successfully. Okay. Then again, after two tags, let me paste it. Over here, the third is to upload the code. Okay. So where you are going to upload, or maybe you can call more professionally push. So code pushed, where you have pushed to Docker Hub successfully, right? Then again, you are going to create one more particular stage here, and this stage would be deploy. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to deploy my app here. So I'm going to say code deployed successfully. So what I did, I have created one pipeline using any of the agent that is available. In this, I have declared the stage. Stage 1, copy the code from repository. Stage 2, scan the code. Stage 3, build the app with that code. Stage 4, push the code to Docker Hub. And fifth stage to deploy it. Now let us see whether these syntaxes are correct or not. You see, I haven't filled anything here. I'm just saving it. Now let's say build now. What build now will do? It will just try to run the code and it will tell you everything is executing or not. Let's go to console and see. Started by user, right? Code cloned successfully, scanned successfully, built successfully, pushed successfully, deployed successful. Overall state is success. That means in this overview, I haven't done any mistake. So far the syntax, whatever I have given is correct. So let's come back to our project and let's go to configure and let's start filling each stage over here. As of now, I just gave the stages and I printed messages. So this cannot be called as actual thing. So I want to get the code from my repository. Where is my repository and from where you want to get it? See, it is available on my Git repository. So I'll say Git URL. Where is Git URL? See, go back to your Git particular thing, and over here you see this location you have to give, or you go to my node CI/CD, exactly this particular thing, and here you can see code. So you see HTTPS so and so so and so. This is what you have to give. Okay, so here it is to go. So what I'll do over here, I'll say get URL. Where is the URL? Put it into double quotes. The URL is here. Now if it is okay, that's fine. Maybe I want it to connect to a branch also. So you can give branch. Which branch? The branch name is master. You see over here, if you look, what is the branch we are working with? The branch name is master. See, if you don't give that also, it's fine. Just give git and the URL, that is also fine. If you are only giving URL, you don't even have to use this concept called URL. Just type git, that's it. Git and HTTPS, that's it. No need to give branch anything. But if you are giving a particular branch, then mandatorily you have to type git URL. After that, you have to give the URL and mention which branch you want to connect. So I want to connect to master branch. Let's see whether this step will be successful or not. So let me save it. See, if it is a private repository, then you remember you have to create a token, and through token you have to connect. How we can get that token syntax? Go to pipeline. Over here, you have to say git, and when you say git, it asks you what is the repository address, right? So whatever repository address is, for instance, our repository address is here. Let me just copy from here and let's paste it here. Then you have to add credential. Which credential? Jenkins credential provider, username and password. Here you have to give your username, and here you have to give the token that you generate in git. So whenever you wanted to allow anybody to access your private repository, this type of syntax you have to utilize. In our case, it's a public repository, so I don't need anything. If you just want to see how the token is generated, please watch our Jenkins class where I have showed you how to connect to private repository. So this is public, we don't really want to worry about. So first step, let me save, and again I'll go for build. See, we will repeatedly try to see build every step. Why? Because I wanted to know whether it will be successful or it is going to fail. So go to console output one more time. See, it is telling no credential specified. Why? Because it is a public repository. So here you see it is connecting. It is setting the remote origin. Remote origin is automatically set over here, that this is my origin and I want to get. And it is fetching all the data, getting it. So code cloned successfully. What Jenkins has done? Jenkins went to GitHub and it downloaded the entire source code directory. That means now I am having the code with me. Chalo, fantastic. Now, if you are having the code, what is the next step you have to do? You have to configure Sonar Cube to scan your code. See, I'll show you Sonar Cube in next project, that is SecOps. So as of now, let's assume that scanning is also successful. Now I want to build the image with the app what I got. Where is our app, guys? Our app is over here. If you go to your GitHub repository, app.js, this is your app. And in views, you can see to do EJS. This is actually your app. Here is your app. Okay, so this is the place where your app detail and app contents are available. So we don't really have to worry about this particular things, guys, because this thing is developed by your developer. We are not going to worry about it. We'll just get the code and we will work. So in the GitHub repository, they are going to upload the data. Once the data is uploaded over here, our work starts from here, pulling the code into Jenkins and trying to create something over here, right? So what is the next step we have to do? First step, you got the code. Second step, you have scan. Third step, you have to build that particular app using Docker build command. See, there is a Docker file here. If you see, there is a Docker file. that says from Node.js, this particular image I'm going to use. Whenever you wanted to download any image from Docker, what you'll do, you'll say Docker search maybe Node.js. So what it does, it goes to Docker Hub repository and it is going to get an image. So in this Docker file, we are telling that get this particular image, and inside it create a directory with the name called app. In this, copy all my application, app.js, view, JSON, all these things will be copied. And then there will be some code testing done inside it. Npm is a kind of command that will test your Node.js application and thing. And here you want to work with a port number 8000. That means here I wanted to use 8000. Finally, it is going to run the application and activate the application. So using this image, in this directory, it copies all the application data. Then it performs certain tests, guys, that will tell you whether everything with the app or Node.js is perfect or not. Then I'm using port number 8000 over here. Why I'm exposing it? Because I want it to give us port number that. Finally, we are starting the application. So command over here is to start the application. So this particular Docker file is going to start an application for us. So using this Docker file, it will work. So in our repository, this Docker file we have to create. Okay, application will be given by your developer, but this Docker file, this is what we have to create. We have to make sure that this particular thing is available over there. Okay, so using this Docker file, Docker will going to create an image for us. So let's come back to our repository, and here let's add the step. What is the step? You wanted to run a command. What command? Docker build. So how you can run that command? Using sh concept. So what I'll do over here, I'll say sh. Sh is nothing but running any command. See, any command of Docker or anything that you want to run, you can use sh option. So what sh will do? It will run this command docker build -t, and one image will be created. What is the name I'm giving? Node app test new. You give whatever you want, but remember the name. This name is very important for us and you must remember it. If you don't remember, there will be problem. So let us save it and let's again go for build. So when you go for build, one more project will be initiated here. Go to console output, connecting to Git successful, and Docker build. The app is getting built, and you see npm is testing the node.js that all the dependencies, everything is proper or not. So you see over here code build successfully. If you just come up here to your Docker and you say Docker images, you see node app test new that has been generated over here. So one image is created. Next step, you have to push the code to Docker Hub. See, Docker Hub will not allow you to push anything without your hub.docker.com. See what it does, it will not allow you to push the code without username and password. So what you need to do here is you need to sign in, write your username, your password. You must know that password. And here what you can do is you can create one repository and you can allow people to upload. Like in my case, I have created node app test new. You can also create it. Just create a repository and give whatever name that you want. So here I have created it and maybe it might have something. Let me get rid of it, guys. Okay. So what I'm going to do, I'll go to this fellow and let me delete it. So what you need to do simply is you need to create one repository with what name? Node app test new. See, it is telling if you want to push the image, you have to say docker push username and followed by the image name that you want to apply over here. So I know where is my Docker Hub repository. Let us tell Jenkins how to connect to my Docker Hub. See, you cannot simply put username password directly to connect. That is going to be problematic and Jenkins will not allow you to do that. So one more time, go to dashboard, go to manage Jenkins. In Manage Jenkins, you see there is an option called credentials. So here what I'm doing is I'm saving the credential and I will ask Jenkins to use that credentials in my pipeline. So let us go to global, global add credentials. So global means I wanted to use it anywhere in my pipeline. I want to connect to external resources also. How you can connect with username and password. What is the username? My username is Musab Sayed. See over there the username on Docker Hub. That's what you have to remember. The username over here is Musab Sayed. So don't give email address, give username. Or in fact, you can give email address complete also, but I'm giving this. Password, whatever password that you have to keep. ID, what you want to call this particular fellow. So over here, you have to store this particular password with some name. So you can say Docker Hub credentials, Docker Hub creds. Same thing, I'm going to call it over here or simply Docker Hub, whatever you want to call, you can call it. So what happens? Jenkins has now stored. Please remember this keyword what you have given. Docker Hub creds. Do not forget this particular thing. Let's come back again to dashboard. It will display your project. Click on that. Go to configure. So first step, you got the clone. Second step, you have scanned the code. Third step, you have built. Now you want to push the code. How can you push the code? See over here, you are having the command docker push, but it requires username and password also. How can I give username and password? See, you have to tell over here pushing, you have to say use credentials, guys. What is the credentials? In the bracket you have to mention username password. See, username password is the keyword that you have to give for giving username. So what is the ID, credential ID, where you have kept your username? So this is the credential ID. In our case, I think we have created Docker Hub creds with capital D, capital H, and capital C, right? And then you have to mention password variable, whatever variable name you want, you can give it. Username variable, username. Why I am creating this variable? Because when you run Docker login command, it asks you to give username and it asks you to give a password. Without giving username, without giving password, you cannot connect to Docker Hub. So it is very important for you. After that, you have to tag the node. See, you must add the tag with your username. If you don't give username, it will come invalid. So over here you see I'm also repeating Docker Hub username. Now once the tagging is completed, push this particular code onto Docker. So what I'll do, I'll simply copy this from here because I'm sure I'll do so many typos, so I don't want any time to be wasted because still we have one more thing. So in this only we have spent 1 hour. More SecOp it is going to take a lot of time. So let's come up to push here and let's paste it here and let's correct few things, guys. I just wanted to be confirmed that in credentials what is the exact name I have given, because if you leave the wrong name it is going to create problem. Docker Hub Creds, that is the name. So let's come back here and I'll say credential ID is Docker Hub Creds, capital D, capital H, capital C. Now password variable is created as Docker Hub password. Username variable is Docker Hub user. So wherever I need username, this variable I will use. Wherever I need password or username, I will use this variable. So next step, what it is doing, it is logging into Docker Hub. After logging, we have to tag the app with our username. That is also finished. After that, it is pushed. Okay, so let's save and again let's go for build. Let's see if we have done everything correctly or does it have any problems. See red color as it got, that means there is a problem over here. What is the problem? It says we are expecting a close parenthesis. Okay, let's see where is the mistake we have done. Let's come back to configure. Definitely here we might have done a mistake. So let me add one more close tag here. Let's see now. Let's build the project. Okay, so project started. Let's go to console output. So build process is going on. Once the npm tests are also fine. Okay, it says skipped due to previous failure. It says there is a problem here. Build successfully, Docker login with credential. What is the error? Let's find out. Code build successfully, Docker hub pass. Docker U username is proper, password is also given. Incorrect username or password. Okay, let me go back to dashboard one more time. Let me correct the password. Probably maybe I have given a wrong password here. So let me change the password. Hopefully this time it should work. Let's build one more time. Let's go to console output and let's see. Okay, see now login was successful. So I have given a wrong password last time. As I correct the password, the Docker image has also been pushed. So you see, we got the code from GitHub. We integrated it with Jenkins, and Jenkins has created an image, and now it has pushed. Where it has pushed? It has pushed to Docker Hub. Let's go to Docker Hub and refresh the page and see. Observe here, you are having a latest image that has been updated, and what is the name? Musab Sayed node app test new, and this is the latest image what I'm telling. So if anybody wants to download it, they just need to use this name or they can get this particular downloaded. Okay, fantastic. So image is also uploaded. Now next thing is I want to deploy it using Docker Compose. So you see we have already installed Docker Compose. So here you see there is a Docker Compose YAML file. Compose use YAML option and it is very simple. Version of Docker Compose 3.9, leave it as it is. Services is nothing but what you are trying to create. So here I'm telling create a web service. You give any name whatever you want. This is your choice name. Where is the image? Image name is Musab Sayyed Node app. Where did I get this name? You got this name from here, Musab Sayyed Node app test, and the image name. If you come up here, the complete name will be available here. So what you need to do, you need to tell that get this port, and remember we asked it to use port number 8000. So I'm telling not only create a container, but open this port number. What is the port number? Port number is 8000. So what this Docker Compose will do, it is going to create an environment for you. What environment? Web environment will be created, and one container will be created. Basically, using this image, exposing this port number I want to build. If you want, you can do it with again a Docker command itself. You can say docker run hyphen it image name and expose port number. That is also possible. But standard way is to create a Docker Compose file and do it. Okay. So what we need to do, we need to ask Docker Compose to create it. See here, I don't want to take a risk. The command is to say Docker Compose up and hyphen D, detach mode. It is going to work with. But maybe if this environment is already created, I may face issue. So what I'm doing, I'm first telling that if the same environment is already running, first kill that environment, then create a new environment. Okay, so that is Docker Compose command. Let's come back here. Let's go to one more time CI/CD, one more time configure. Let us go to the last step, right? Open a new line here and paste it. What we are telling, if this environment is already created, down it. Although guys, if you don't want, you can remove down and say up, because we are going to practice this again and again. I'm sure you will get issues that already existing environment. So to test it, what I'm telling is if any web environment is already there with this name, first delete it and then create a new fellow. That's what I'm telling. Let's save it and let us go for build. So our final project will be created over here. Go to console output, see all the steps it is telling you. NPM tests are performed, login is also successful, image is already existing, we have pushed it. Now it is going to create an environment. One image or one container will be created. So you see code deployed successfully and overall environment is successful. Fantastic. Now if you go and check Docker ps-a, see one container has been up and a port number 8000 must be open. So now what I'll do, I'll go to my EC2 instance, go to your security group. Now in this security group, you have to allow port number 8000. So let me say add which port number 8000 from everywhere. What is this port? It is Node.js or um, to do app. One app is there guys that help us to create a to-do list, right? So maybe today I want to do something, one list I want. Now how do I connect to my app? Just take the IP address, take a new tab, paste and go to port number 8000. See your app is deployed. To-do list DevOps project. Now here people can type anything. First, maybe I want to take groceries, right? Second, I have to visit airport. Third, I have to make dinner, something. So you see my things are getting ready. So app is successfully deployed. Who has built this app? This app is built by your DevOps developer. Who has built this entire or who has made this app deployed? you and me who are called as DevOps engineer. So once the code is given to us, what we do, we take the code, we put it into Jenkins, we run a Jenkins pipeline, and in pipeline we will define all the steps that it has to take. So first step, it is going to take the code. Second step, it is going to scan the code. Third step, it is going to build that particular thing, push into Docker Hub, then it will be deployed. Where it will be deployed? Every place wherever you want, it is going to deploy. You can also use Ansible to deploy it on 100 machines at a time. So at a time, it may be deployed on 100, 200 machines. As complex as you want, you can make this kind of thing and it is going to work for you. Okay. Fine. So this is the way how we do our project one. So far, guys, I'm sure you may not be 100% clear what happened until unless you practice on your own. So before I go to second project, I want to take 5 minutes of break. Okay, guys, welcome back. So let's continue with our DevSecOps project. First of all, you understand that what exactly is DevSecOps. See, in this, what we have done is we have kept some steps also, because this is not a very simple project what we have done just previously. Even though that you might feel a little complicated at the beginning, but believe me, if you practice the project 4 or 5 times, one after the other, you can write that groovy syntaxes on your own, and whole steps you can do. Just follow the same methodology what we have followed. Write one code, test it. Write one code, test it, and it will be more easier. Now, in this SecOps projects, first let me explain you what is DevOps and DevSecOps. DevOps is what we are doing so far, integrating multiple tools and trying to automate the things for us. Now, in SecOps, actually, we will concentrate on security. DevOps is what? DevOps is basically development and operations, isn't it? So it is called development plus operations activities. But here, when I say DevSecOps, it add one more component here. DevOps plus security plus operations. So developer will do development and security people are going to perform security check. And then we the operators, we are going to deploy it anywhere that we want, right? So this is very, very important in today's time. You know, security is a big concern nowadays. If we don't pay attention to the securities, there will be lots and lots of issues that you can face, right? So to overcome this particular thing, security has to be added. So how the pipeline look like now, let's see. See, first of all, let me rephrase everything from the beginning. Okay, so assume you have developers. This developers has written the code and they have uploaded into GitHub. What developer will do? They'll only create the app and they will submit to us. Now it's our duty to take it and integrate with other people. Like testers are there who are going to test whether the code is healthy or unhealthy. Does it have vulnerabilities? Does it have any bugs? Does it have any kind of intrusion, malware, something like that into it? So we take it from GitHub and we upload it into Jenkins. Let's do one thing. Let's make the line little smaller for Jenkins, right? So we'll take it and we'll apply it onto Jenkins. Okay. Now in Jenkins, we are going to create a pipeline in such a way that we have to go for security measures also. So what we'll do, we are going to send the code for scanning. Who will scan it? Basically testers. So in our class, we have also seen SonarQube. So we'll send this particular thing to Sonar. Now, what Sonar will do? Sonar will evaluate this particular code. It will find vulnerabilities, code smells, bugs, and code weaknesses, right? And if all the things passed, then it will return it back to us saying that it is perfect. Or if it is failing, then you have to inform or you have to send the same report to your codes developers. They will look into it and they will try to avoid that particular thing. Now, okay, see, Sonar has done the test. Application is ready. Sometimes you see when you create an application or when you download an application. For example, you are trying to install Oracle VirtualBox. Now, Oracle VirtualBox require a dependency. What is the dependency? Dependency is Visual Distribution 219, something like that. Or if you are installing .NET Framework, sorry, you are installing Microsoft Office, it requires .NET Framework. So softwares need other software for installation. So same like that, the applications may be dependent on some other libraries, some other different things. So Sonar has scanned the code and it said code is okay. What about dependencies, guys? See, there are dependencies which we are adding with our application. Now imagine if I just add dependencies without scanning them, without testing them that everything is fine with the dependencies or not, then it is going to be a problematic. That means your code is good. What you are adding with that may be not good. It may have vulnerabilities. It may have malware inside it. It may have some other problems inside it, right? So that is going to be problematic, and people are going to kick off your application if it has such problems, right? So what I want to do after my app is scanned or after my code is scanned with Sonar, I want to add dependencies and the dependencies should also be scanned. So this is done by a tool called OWASP. So guys, OWASP is actually a government agency from USA, right? It is going to be handled by something called NVD, National Vulnerability Database. So what they do, they maintain the database of all vulnerable software. So what OAS will do, it will connect to that database. More than 2 lakh objects are there or entries are there inside it. So it will search with that particular database and it will tell you whether this particular thing is fine or not. Just like in your phone, you have Truecaller app. You put a number, it search into Truecaller app and tell you this belongs to whom. And if it is a spam, it will give you in red color. Something like that, OAS will check in the database that everything, the dependencies what are being added inside it, those dependencies are fine or not. And guys, in SecOps, this is very, very important, right? Now, one more layer, what you can do after this, I'll tell you. Now Sonar has approved that code is okay. OWASP has tell that okay, this dependencies are also fine and there is no vulnerability found in the dependencies. So my software is becoming secure now. Then what I'll do, I'll ask Docker. Okay, I'll tell Docker to build an image. Up till now, I have not built any image. So now what happens? Docker is going to build an image. Now, once the image is ready, then guys, one more security. You see, every step you have to apply security. Every step, starting from getting the code. Now, next step, what I want to do is I want to now scan complete image. Now, guys, Sonar cannot scan the image OAS cannot scan the image. Docker itself has one component, I'm forgetting the name, that will be testing it. But mostly guys in industry, we use one more tool called Trivi. So Trivi is a very popular tool for scanning images. Now oftenly people get confused here that what is the difference between OASP and Trivi. OASP is a dependency checker for the software, for the code. Whatever dependencies are there, is it safe to continue or not? It is going to check when before the image is built. But Trivi is going to check the image completely after the image is created. So guys, if you want, some people what they do, instead of using OASP, they'll directly use Trivi. That means you get the code from Sonar, you build the image, check with Trivi. That is also fine. That is also perfectly fine. But if you want to make your code very secure, then adding OASP is a wonderful feature. But let me tell you, OASP is going to take a very long time, right? It might take half an hour to 1 hour to get the code or get the updates from the NVD server, right? So it is going to be a very patience field. So 1 hour, maybe half an hour, 40 minutes, you have to wait for OAS to complete the concept. Then you build the image, then Trivi will scan the image. If Trivi says that, okay, the whole container is good to go, then what we will do, we are going to push this image to Docker Hub, right? Now, once you have pushed the image to Docker Hub, what is the next thing you can do? You can deploy it. Where you can deploy, see anywhere you want, you can deploy it, wherever you want. Maybe you can deploy directly on Docker container, so it will create a container for you, or you can put it into Kubernetes cluster, right? If you want to do it, or simply by using Ansible automation, you can create containers on multiple machines, and it will be working. Wherever you want, you can do that. So here steps are going to increase. Earlier we were having 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 steps only. But now you see overall steps will be increased. You need Sonar also, you need OWASP also, you need Trivi also. So it is going to be a little tough one to go for it. Maybe you may find that while we are doing, few times it might fail also. So that is the reason I chose today's day, Sunday, because we have ample time to do this particular thing. I'm also not having any classes today, so we can give maximum time to it to perform the task. So let's go back to your DevSecOps Jenkins files. So here is the steps what you have to follow. See, pipeline you are starting. I want to run this project on any Jenkins slave or master itself. Now here you have to set an environment, Sonar home. Why we have to set it? We'll see that later. First of all, what we do is, what are the prerequisites that we need to install? Linux already installed, Git and GitHub already configured, Docker Compose already done, Jenkins we have already done. Now we need a Sonar Cube server. See, the most easiest way to go for Sonar Cube is to create a container and work with that. We also need Trivi. I'm sorry. So how to install Trivi? Very easy concept is there, guys. Click on this reference tab, and here are the steps what you have to follow. Just copy this, paste it. So I am installing Trivi as an additional security layer to install my image. Guys, you can put this project in your resume and you can say that we have used this kind of projects over there to deploy the apps or any other thing. So first step is completed. Then copy the second step to copy the key through which it will authenticate the software. Then lastly, you have to update the database of Ubuntu for software. Finally, you install trivia. Now, why it is telling us such 1 minute, guys. Let's see where is the problem. This was fine. This was also fine. This was also fine. That update is also fine. Okay, now the Trivy repository is available. Maybe I did mistake in the thing. Probably now it will install Trivy, guys. Right. So while copying the steps, certainly I did some mistake somewhere. That is the reason. Now Trivy is installed. If I just check it out, yes, Trivy is installed. Perfect. Now we want Sonar Cube, guys. See, Sonar Cube, the best thing is to get a Docker container and easily work with that. So I'll say Docker run a container. ITD means interactive terminal. D means detachment. Run in the background. What is the name you want to call Sonar Cube server? -P, you want to use a port. Sonar Cube use a port number 9000. So you have to expose or publish this port number. Which is the image you want to use? Sonar Cube long-term support community edition. Basically, Sonar Cube is a paid software, so a trial software is available. That is enough for us. So let's copy this and let's create one container with LTS community. So one Docker image will be downloaded and a container will be created so that we can use that container as a Sonar Cube testing concept, right? So if you say Docker ps-a, you see Sonar Cube is running on port number 9000. We have to log in into this. So what I'll do now, I will go to uh, security group one more time. Why? You have to allow port number 9000. So go to this security group, edit inbound rule. So we have allowed application port, Jenkins port, SSH port. Now we have to allow port number 9000 from anywhere. And this is your Sonar Cube port number. Okay, let's save it. Now come back to instance, copy the IP address, go to a new page, paste it and give 9000 port number. See, Sonar Cube is running. Initial username is admin and password is also admin. Admin is the username and password. Let's log in. So it says change the password. Change it to whatever you like. I'm giving HYD123. Update. Now you see your Sonar Cube is ready. See, just to have a revision what Sonar Cube is, it take the tests, it takes the code and it will scan. How it will take the code, guys? See, Sonar server will be there. So we have two things. Let me take one more paintbrush to explain you how Sonar Cube actually works. When it comes to Sonar Cube, guys, you have two things. One is your Jenkins. It is taking the code and pushing it. To whom it is pushing the code? It is going to push the code to Sonar server. Alright. Now here all the code testing will be done. Now guys, you will be having some test that will be performed. What test? It will look for bugs in the code. It will look for code smells. That means code smell does not mean it smells something. Code smell means there is some weak leakage kind of concepts are there. It will look for vulnerabilities, right? So basically it will check that everything with this particular thing is okay or not, right? And code duplications are there. So many concepts are there what it is going to test out over here. Now, what happens, guys? Companies will have a standard of checking. Now, in the test, my code must score how much? So they will say it must score 80%. If the code is passing all the test with 80%, I will say it is good to go. Now, few companies are very, what I can say, few companies are very tough about this particular thing. So they may says that no, we want the code to score 85%, right? I know one company which we worked for. So over here, they are very tough. They'll say the code must secure 95%. So if 80% code is nice, I mean 80% it is clearing all the risk, it is good. Normally 80% is the good standard every companies follow. But again, it depends on company to company. They'll decide how much it has to go. By default, if you go to SonarQube, there is a concept called quality gates. Here you see by default, SonarQube is telling code coverage. We call it as code coverage. So code coverage should be 80%. That means the code is okay 80%. But maybe you want to create your own rule. No problem. Create a rule. You say my body, my rule. Say save it. Now go to my rule and here you can edit. You can say no. I want it to be 95% on. And if it is not crossing 95%, I'm not going to accept it. Like that, you can say. So it's okay, guys. I'm fine with the default 80%. That's fine. That's okay for me. It will give me A rating. A rating means it is perfect. Security hotspots, that means it is able to reach out by people. People can crack it. So all sort of test it is going to do. How? It creates one project. Now, if you want to directly get the project from GitHub, you can set up a from Azure DevOps, GitLab, Bitbucket. From there, you can directly keep it, or you can manually create a project. Project require a project name and a key name. Key name is nothing but again the same project name and ID kind of thing. So this will be the display name. This will be an ID that will be used. So I'm not going to create any such thing manually. Jenkins is going to create it. Only in this, what I have to do, I need one security token to connect to Jenkins. So what you can do, you can come to administration and in security, you can go to users and create a user if you want and add this user into admins. Or to save time, I'm going to use the same administrator that is available. Now here there is an option called tokens. Same like your GitHub private token what we have generated, same thing. Here I'll be using token. So what Jenkins will do, it will use this token for communication. So what name you want to call it? I'll say Jenkins token. What we are doing, you understand, guys. See, I want a project to go like this. So I want Jenkins to talk to Sonar and tell it that see this is the project, you do test and report me back. Okay, so how Jenkins will talk to Sonar? See, direct username password giving is the worst technique and no application is accepting it for sure. No application is accepting it. So in that case, what we are doing here is we are connecting through tokens. So Jenkins will use a token for connectivity. How many days you want it to be valid? It's up to you. 30 days is okay for me. Let me generate it. Now, first thing you have to do is copy this code somewhere, right? So I'll say Sonar token. Let me copy and paste. So we got the token. Acha, where I'm going to put it? Go back to your Jenkins. Go back to same your 1 second. Go back to same place. Manage Jenkins. In Manage Jenkins, you have credentials. So let's go to credentials. Again, I'll say this is a global credential. Add a credential. How you will connect? No username password. Here I want secret text, only token. So say there is a secret token, paste it. What is the ID you want to call it? Maybe I'll say Sonar. This is Sonar credential. Create it. So what we did here, you see, first we went to this particular thing, we got the token. Also, you want a webhook to be created. Let us understand. Let's spend 1 minute on understanding webhook. See, we are telling that Jenkins is going to send the code to Sonar. Okay. So Jenkins will push the code. We got the address. We got the token. Through that, it will send the code to Sonar. Okay. Now what Sonar will do? It is going to perform all type of testing over here. All the testing it will perform. Now, how Sonar is going to inform back Jenkins the work is over or not? Jenkins will not go and check. Jenkins has to wait. Suppose I have given somebody a work. I told my brother that you are there, right? I'm sending an email. Do your work. Now he has completed his work. How do I know? He has to reply me back, isn't it or not? So here what we do, we create a webhook. So what webhook will do, using that webhook, Sonar is going to reply to Jenkins. So here webhook is a way of sending and receiving messages. So whenever other tool wants to talk to Jenkins or any other application, we create a webhook. So using this webhook, Sonar will tell Jenkins that you send me the token. See, quality gates are okay. Quality gates means the threshold value what you have set. So that gates are okay. You take your code and now you proceed. Okay. So webhook is very important to reply back. So what I'll do, I'm going to create a webhook now on Sonar. So where is Sonar? Here we are in the Sonar. Now we got the token. We stored the token. No worries. Go to configuration. Last time we went to security username. This time I'll go to configuration, and do you see webhooks here? Go to webhook and say create a webhook. What name you want? See, I'm going to call it Jenkins webhook. Now give the URL of your Jenkins. How can I connect to Jenkins server? This is the IP for Jenkins server, and do not forget port number. Port number is 8080. So let's come up over here. Let's paste it. HTTP. See, by mistake, if you give HTTPS here, it will not work. HTTP. IP address is this, port number is this. Acha, how Jenkins will know now that who is this fellow talking to us? So here you have to tell that this is Jenkins webhook. Sorry, Sonar Cube webhooks. I'm sorry. So you need to create Sonar Cube. See, you cannot use any other name. You are trying to inform Jenkins. How Jenkins know who is calling me, who is reporting me? So I'll say this is Sonar Cube webhook. So when you say Sonar Cube webhook, please do not do spelling mistake, right? If you do a spelling mistake, it is going to be problematic. So you have to give IP address, port number, Sonar Cube hyphen webhook. You cannot create anything else. Okay, so you are going to have Sonar Cube webhook. Great. So we have done that. right? Sonar Cube webhook. You can give a slash after that, or you can leave it as it is only, no problem. Let us create a webhook. See, after the Jenkins pipeline start, last delivery address has to come. If it is telling not able to deliver, there is a problem. Maybe you have not configured URL properly, or you have forgot to add Sonar Cube webhook. Something you have done a mistake. So please understand the story how it is going so far. You created a code, uploaded to GitHub. Now we are preparing Jenkins, and we are telling Jenkins to contact to Sonar. To contact to Sonar, we require Sonar Cube connectivity. So I'll show you how to add Sonar connectivity also. But before that, we have installed Sonar, and we created Sonar token. We have created Sonar webhook through which we will connect. Token will be used by Jenkins to talk to Sonar, and Sonar webhook will be used to talk to Jenkins. So token will be used to log in into Sonar, and webhook will only send a message. Okay, for message I don't need any token. Directly you will be using webhook to communicate. Webhook is a message what is sent to Jenkins. That's it. Guys, so far am I clear? I think it is becoming more monotonous. So I just want to have a simple clarification from you. So far, are you with me, all four of you? The story is clear. So far the story is clear to us. Fantastic. Very good. Now let's move forward and let's configure Jenkins. See, so far we configure our Sonar to talk to Jenkins, but we haven't prepared Jenkins. We haven't told Jenkins that where is my Sonar connectivity and all. So in that case, what you have to do, you need to install some plugins here, guys. See, it says you have to install plugins, Sonar Cube Scanner, Sonar Quality Gates. Quality Gates is going to set the standard. It is going to test it. Then you also need to go with OWASP. OWASP is going to check the dependencies, everything is okay or not. Docker, we have already installed the plugin, so no need to go for it again. We'll go with Sonar Cube Scanner, Sonar Quality Gates, and OWASP dependency check. These three tools we will install now. So where we have to go? You have to go to Jenkins under Manage Jenkins. In Manage Jenkins, go to Plugins. In Plugins, go to Available Plugins. Just search Sonar. So you see you got Sonar Cube Scanner. You have normal quality gales also, but you have to go with Sonar Quality Gale. And you also need to go for OWASP. Okay, so here you see OWASP dependency check. So this plugin execute dependency check and analyze all the project dependencies are safe to go or not. So let's take it and let's say install them. See, it is a great idea always to restart Jenkins after installation is completed, so that we should not have any problem in communication. Let it finish and restart. Whenever it is rolling on loading plugins and all, if you click, it may get restart sometimes, or just wait for it to complete. Let's give it one more. Usually it will be faster only. I don't know why it is taking a little bit of time now. Let me refresh and see. All right, so you see download progress is completed and plugins have been installed successfully. Okay, fantastic. Now, what is the next step to do? So step number one, we have installed the required packages. Step number two, we have configured Sonar Cube also. Now we have configured the Sonar username password also. See, this time I want Sonar Cube server to have a communication with Jenkins. Unfortunately, see, normally what will happen is whenever you install any plugins, you can do configuration to that plugins by going into tools. Where you will go? You will go into tools. So whenever you go into tools, you will find an option. Suppose you install Maven tool. So Maven option, JDK, Git. For everyone, there is one option available, right? Here you see we are having Sonar Cube Scanner. You are having dependency check, but in this tool you are not having Sonar Cube server. No problem. Where to find it? Go to manage Jenkins. Why it is logging me out every time? Let me say keep me silent. So you have to go to system. Please observe carefully here. I'm not going to tools. I'm going to system. So please go to system. Under system, you will find Sonar Cube server detail. So it says the home directory is varlib Jenkins, 2 tasks at a time it is going to go, usage, SCM repository, where to connect, Jenkins location, so many things. Now inside it, do you see Sonar Cube server? Please add Sonar Cube details. Now, what is the name you want to call it? I'll give Sonar. What is the URL to connect to Sonar? See, same URL you have to use IP and port number. So let me come back here and I'll say this is the IP and this is the port number. How can I connect to it without any username password? No, we created a Sonar key credential. So I'm telling connect to Sonar server and use this password. So this is very important. You have to give the name, you have to give the URL, and you have to give the authentication token using which the communication will happen. Where we came, guys? We came into tools. Do not forget. We came into manage Jenkins and we came into system. And over here, we have added Sonar server details, all that thing. Okay, perfect. Now, next thing, you have to configure Sonar scanner. Now, here people get oftenly confused that up till now you are talking about Sonar server. Now, what is this Sonar scanner? See, without Sonar scanner, Sonar cube itself cannot work. So we have three things here. You have your Jenkins server, and here we are having our Sonar cube server. Guys, I'm going to take a lengthier time to explain this whole thing because next time we'll not get this much of time again. So let me take the time. Please bear with me and your time will be valuable today, whatever you are learning. So Sonar Cube server, we want to send the code for testing. Directly you cannot send. So what any client will use, not only Jenkins, even manually if you want to do the testing also, you need Sonar scanner. In our Sonar Cube class, you can see I have used this particular thing there also. So what Sonar scanner will do? Sonar scanner is a plugin, guys. Okay, so it's a plugin, small plugin. What it does is it is going to compress the soft code. So what is this Sonar scanner? What the scanner will do, it will compress the code, right? And it will send that compressed code to SonarQube. Problem is directly you cannot do. Sonar scanner has some command line. So using that command line will be given to us by testers. They know the command line, so we'll get that. It's a simple command line what we will take from there. So Sonar Scanner will compress the code and send to Sonar Cube server. So now we have to configure that plugin. Jenkins will run a command through Sonar Scanner and send it to Sonar Cube. So this is the process. You have to go through scanner. So next step is to configure Sonar scanner, right? So what we will do now, we'll go back again to manage Jenkins. So much manage Jenkins we are doing, guys. This time we already installed the Sonar scanner plugin. Let's configure it. So go to tools. In tools, you have to look for Sonar Cube Scanner installation. That means some prerequisite is not yet installed. No problem. Add Sonar Cube Scanner. What is the name you want to call? Whatever you want to call, you can call it. I'm again calling it Sonar. Now install the software from Maven Central. Okay, install it. What is the version? See, these are the version of that plugin. Whichever you want. This is the command line actually. So which version you want to install, you can install. See, there are various ways. You can download the zip and install it. You can run any commands that you want to run, or you can install from Maven Central. From here, it is going to install. Okay. So now you see what will happen in our project. This fellow send the code. Jenkins is sending the code to Sonar. Now Sonar is going to scan and give Jenkins the report that code is perfect. Now I need to check the dependent software through OWASP. OWASP is again a third party open source software. So I need to connect to OWASP also, and I need to install OWASP dependencies also, or OWASP tools also. So in this list, if you go a little bit below, you see there is an option dependency check installations. Add dependency check, what name you want to call it. See, names are very important and you have to remember those names. If you don't remember, in the pipeline you will give wrong names and your pipeline will fail. So whatever name you are giving, see, I'm using the name here Sonar. So remember Sonar. Okay, here if you are giving OASP, you have to type OASP. Maybe I'll say DC. DC means dependency checker. Install it. From where you want to install? See, I don't have it. So you can install it from GitHub, right? It is suggesting you how you can install. So I don't have any zip or tarball to install. I don't know what commands it will use, but it says it is available on GitHub. Then go and get it. So I'll say dependent check whatever version you want, whichever version, install. So two things it is going to install. When we run the pipeline, first it will install Sonar Cube, and second it is going to install dependency check. Okay, so let me say save it. Nothing else to be done. So what we have done, first step, I'm again going to come back from the beginning. We configure all our required thing. We installed Docker. We configured uh, the Sonar Cube server. Inside it, you have created a Sonar Cube token and you have added it into global credential. You configure Sonar Cube server and now you are going with Sonar Cube scanner. And we have also configured this particular thing. Trivi we have already installed. Perfect. Now I want to configure my Jenkins file, right? So here everything will remain same. Code it is going to get from the same location. Perfect. I'll not disturb. Second thing, I wanted to send the code to Sonar server. How can I send it to Sonar server? See, we have to use some command. What is the command? See here, you have to declare one variable. You have to tell that I want an environment to be set. What is this environment? See here I'm setting a variable that whenever I ask to connect to Sonar, connect to the tool with the name called Sonar. This environment will tell Jenkins, Acha, the user is asking me to connect to Sonar server. So let us go back to our project. Where is our project? Here, the pipeline. In the pipeline, you go to configure and just below agent any, I'm going to add environment. Okay. So what we have done, we have added environment. All right. Sonar home and we have given environment. Let us close this tag. Most common mistake I do is closing the tags. Here you have open, here I am closing. So whenever in the script anybody says sonar home, that means you are talking about sonar cube. So second step is to scan the code. How you can scan the code? See here, with sonar cube environment. In this, I am running a command. This is the command, guys. What is the command? Sonar scanner is the command. See here what it is going to do. It is going to create a project. Let me take you back to Sonar Cube. What did I told you? There will be a project here, right? Now, whenever you create a project, you have to give project name and project key. Same thing I am doing with command line. I am telling Sonar Scanner, see, by using Sonar tool, run the command. What command? Sonar Scanner. An option always start with D. D means daemon or service. So what is the project name you want? The project name I want is node to do. Key name, node to do. Something by whatever you want, you can give it up over here. So just I'm going to copy this particular thing from here. Okay. So let's take the steps, copy completely. Let's come back to our Jenkins plugin. Over here, just after the step, you paste it. So by using Sonar tool, I want it to connect. Acha, once the scan is completed, what is the next thing you want? See, I also want the result from quality gates. I want quality gates to tell me whether the scanning is successful or not. Only sending the code is not important. Getting the information it is working or not is also very, very important. So next stage will be getting the information from quality gates. So here, this line, if you want to ignore, you can ignore, but I don't want my project to take much time. Sometimes what happens due to wrong configuration, it will go into checking quality gates, checking 1 hour will happen, 3 hours will happen, 4 hours will happen. Who will have that much of time to wait? Within 1 minute, if I'm not getting response, I want to abort the pipeline. That's what I'm telling. So I'm telling wait for quality gate. Abort pipeline false. That means if it is not getting proper result, false, like that you have to say. So what we'll do, we'll copy this particular thing. Okay, let me copy this stage and let me paste it over here. So one more stage is what you have to create, where after scanning. So let me paste it here and let's take it a little below so that it adjusts to the stages thing. Right. So over here, the stage what I took is Sonar Cube quality gates and I set the time. What is the time? 1 in minutes. So within 1 minute, if I'm not getting response, it is going to automatically abort. So wait for quality gates to perform the test. So first step, what will happen? Sonar Cube is going to test. Let's test this much of pipeline. Is it going to work properly or not, or is it going to work with the perfect credentials and all? Then we'll add OASP. OASP is going to take a long time. Let's go for build. So it failed. Fantastic. Why it failed? Let's find out. There is some, okay. Again, I told you that the most common mistake I do is closing the braces mostly. So where I did a mistake, let me find out. Okay, stage scan step. Okay, 2, 3, 4. Maybe here I did a mistake. What about next fellow? 1, 2, 3. So 1, 2, 3. Perfect. Let's see, guys. Will it resolve? Okay, seems it is working. Go to console output, getting the code successful, cloning the code successful, injecting Sonar Cube environment. So what it is doing, it is connecting to Sonar Cube for testing. Okay, so it has created a project, it is telling. Now it is going and checking all the code of ours. Is it perfect or not? A big report will be generated. Okay, so analysis, execution successful, code scan successful, and you see Sonar Cube is waiting. Quality gate is also okay, perfect. So whole of our code has been almost successful. I'll explain you the steps, guys, once this process is completed. Finished. Now you see what happened. Let's go up, up, up. See, as usual, the code started here. Okay, we gathered the information. Here it started. First of all, we downloaded the code. After the code is cloned successfully, injected the data to SonarQube. Now SonarQube login is created. It has created to do project. Go to Sonar and check. Go to projects and see. Automatically note to do a project has been created. And you see we got A star in bugs, no vulnerability, code smell. Hotspot it is telling E. Why it is, we'll check that. Okay, remaining are okay. This fellow might be there is some problem in our small issue with command line or something. I'll tell you what it is, guys. Security hotspot. Let's click on node to do. Here you can see hotspot. Seems everything is fine, but why it has given us E rating then? Acha. See, here it is. In your Docker file, it is telling this way of copying data is insecure. So you can ignore, guys. It is just a syntax error. It is telling that you should not openly copy the data just like that, copy recursively properly. So it is a fake positive, nothing to worry. Priority is medium. It's not critical to worry about. Ignore it, guys. Ignore. No problem. It has just checked the syntax and it has told. So what it has done, it has scanned the whole repository, an entire repository it has told, but overall quality gate is passed. So our code is successful more than 80%. We don't really have to worry. Easy, fine. No need to worry about it. Okay, and it has uploaded also. Fine. So up till now, where we have one, we went through Sonar. Now I need to connect to OS. Here we have to show a very, very high patience. I request you, if you wanted to have lunch, you can come back by taking lunch, because connecting to OS first time is very long and time taking concept. So let us see that what and how we have to connect with OS. So let's again go to Node CI/CD. See here, SonarQube variable is also available. If you click here, it takes you to SonarQube server and display all the project result that what you have got. Anyways, now let's go to configure and let's connect to dependency checker or OS. So next step after SonarQube should be OS stage. So we need one more stage here to connect to OS. So how we can connect to OS? Two ways I'll show you. First way, you can say stage is OS, dependency check, additional argument, scan. What I'm scanning? My whole apps and all I'm scanning. What is the scanner name? DC. Where did I get this name DC, guys? If you remember, when you go to your manage Jenkins, go to plugins, install plugin, you have OS, right? Okay, not here. Let's go to tools. In tools, my bad, you have added dependency checker. What is the name you use? DC. See, this is what I was telling you. These names are very important. You must use the same name here. If you don't use the same name, there will be issue. So dependency check, I'm telling there are additional arguments. What arguments? Scan my directory with this scanner, right? And pattern, there is certain pattern to check, guys. Just copy paste this thing, this is enough. So what it will do, it is going to connect to OS and it will scan for all dependency. Now guys, there is a huge list to connect to OS and get the dependency list, and this is why it is going to take a very long time. So let me paste it over here, it will connect. Now, guys, there is a concept called NVDID. So, what is this NVDID? National Institute of Standard and Technology. If you go to this website, this is US government based website. So, whenever OAS is checking vulnerabilities, it will come to this website and there is a database, National Vulnerability Database. Now, what they do, they give one ID. Using this ID, you can check. Even though you can continue without giving any vulnerability ID, no problem. Without vulnerability ID also, you can connect and you can get it. But the problem is without NVDID, if you go, it will take 2 hours to get all the things. More than an hour time easily it will take. So you can continue just like this, how I mentioned in the code, exactly same way you can mention and it will connect. But suppose if I want an ID, how can I get ID? See, in my case, I have already generated an ID. In your case, you can go to this website, right? Where is the website? Here is your website. Go to paste and go. When you go to paste and go, here it says it asks you organization name, email address, organization type, anything you like, anything you like. See, in my case, I select academia. Organizational name, anything, maybe I'll say it is personal. Email address, your email ID. Once you submit it, what will happen? You will receive an email. Go to your email. When you see, I got NVD, no reply. So it says your key is ready. Where is the key? Is this is my key? No, that is not my key. When you click here, one link will open and here your key will be displayed, and this is only valid for 5 to 10 minutes only. So within a minute you have to copy that ID, and what you will do, you will store it somewhere. Like in my case, I have stored over here, right? So I got an email address and this is my key. So this key, if you use, OWASP will work little faster. So where I can store it? Again a question. Where this key shall I store? Same, go back to Jenkins, go back to manage Jenkins, go back to credentials, go back to global, add a credential, and I want to add a secret file, right? What is the ID? Sorry, not secret file, secret text. What is the ID that you want to use? So here guys, I'm going to use any ID, whatever name you want, but please use the same name for connectivity. Like in my case, I will be using the ID over here as NVD API key. You can use whatever name you like, but because in the pipeline I'm going to use it, I'll use the same name, NVD API key. And in secret, I'm going to put the key here. So let me come back here. Where is my key? Here. And let me close this terminals. Too many terminals are open. Paste it here. Please remember the name what you are going to use. See, without this also you can continue. There is no problem. Just like that you mention, it will connect. You try without giving any ID. Just give like this also, it will work. That is the reason I did not change it on my GitHub, because you may try without this. You have lots of time, you can connect. But in my case, we don't have, already 2.5 hours we have spent. Now I don't want you to wait too much. So what I'll do here is I will add one more environment here. What environment? NVD API key credentials, where I have stored it. So one more variable I am declaring, guys. These variables you can use in the bottom. So like Sonar Home activated Sonar Cube tool. NVD API key will activate NVD API key. That's it. Okay. So what I'm going to do over here is you will be coming to your OS, and here you have to pass one more argument. What argument? Which key to use? So you just need to come up over here and add one more argument, that using this key you scan. So when you say use this key for scan, it will be faster, very much faster. Okay. So let me put it over here and I'll say scan with this particular thing. Let's drop it down, this fellow, so that no confusions will be there. Okay, normally last time I told only scan. This time I am inserting the ID. So when you give the ID, obviously it is going to be faster. After that, we will also add Trivi. Trivi is going to scan the build tab. So how the stage is going, you see. I'm going to put everything now. So GitHub will send the code to Jenkins. Jenkins will send to Sonar and again inform Jenkins. Jenkins will scan the whole dependency with OAS. Everything is okay, will build the tool. Once the container is built or image is built, my bad, Trivi has to scan it. So how to scan it with Trivi? One more stage you have to add here. What is the stage you have to add? Very small stage. You have to say stage name is Trivi and the command is Trivi image name. So what Trivi will do? It will scan the built image if the image is good or not. If the image is good, it will be pushed. If the image is not good, it will not be pushed. So let's put it over here. So stage is Trivi and the command is Trivi image name. That's it. So if OASP is halting or going somewhere, please remove this step, right? Just remove this step, and in the place of that step, you mention something else. Just give me a second, guys. Okay. So if OASP is hanging, right? You can just ignore this and continue with Trivi. Trivi will also do that. But why specially I have mentioned that in our thing? Because, people uses it in our work environments. So let's close it twice. Okay. So stage is open and stage is closed. After that, it will be pushed and finally it will be deployed. So this is how the steps are going to work. You upload the code, Jenkins read it, checked with Sonar, checked with OAS, then the tool is built, again checking with Trivi. Finally, it will be going. Now you have to show some patience here, because this fellow OAS is a time taking concept. Even though I have mentioned the key, without key it may take more than 1 hour. With key it may take half an hour, guys. So if you want to ignore that, you can ignore it, but I just want to complete everything. Okay, so Sonar Cube testing is okay. And now you see the software OASP is getting installed. Once it is installed, it is checking for the updates. What updates it is checking? Vulnerability updates. Like you might seen the Truecaller also asks you to update the database. So here it is also going to do that database update. Oh, some error occur. API key is valid. Yes, API key is valid. We have generated in the morning itself. See, anyway, now Trivi has also performed the check. You see, Trivi has checked everything, and here you will get a report, guys. Is Trivi test is okay or not? Maybe the key what I used has expired, or maybe they have expired it. That is the reason it is telling. So code deployed successfully, but finished with failure. What failure? OASP failure is there. So it is not the failure of our thing. If you go and just connect, your app will still be available. Let's take it. Let's paste it, and the port number is 8000. See, app is done. So Trevi has passed it, but OASP has failed it. Okay. So what I'm going to do here is I'll go to over here, and let me try to check it out. Where is the problem I have done in OASP? Maybe the key it is telling is invalid. See, it is a security key. They will give us for short amount of time, and it may get expired also. So it might happen that the key what I have given got expired. Okay. So nothing to worry about here. It might say that it is expired, but in our case it seems to be okay. Using double quote is something what is required. 1 minute, guys. And do we need a comma after that? Yes. Okay. ODC installation dependency check. One more time, let's run the pipeline. If not, then I'll remove the key and we will continue without the key. So let's build the code one more time. So trial and error, trial and error, trial and error. So many things will be going on, guys. We have to try and wait, try and wait. Let's see what it will say now. Dependency check. Use the following variable NVD API key. Checking for updates. Last time here we faced the problem. Did I copy the key properly? Or have I given extra space? Sometimes my problem is I give extra spaces also. Let's see. Okay, see, it's working now. NVD API has 2,55,500 records in this update. Now the updates will be downloaded. This is what I was telling. So maybe the problem with that single key and double key was there. Do not worry with that, right? So I have removed the single quotes and applied the double quotes. So please do not worry. I'll share this OASP related pipeline also, and already without key pipeline is there on GitHub. So you can try without also and with also. The only thing is with key download will be faster. Without download or without key, it is going to take hell lot of time. Now from here, it is going to take at least 10-15 minutes. So let's have a break, guys. I'm sorry it is getting very lengthier, but this is fruitful. It is worth for you to see what is going to happen. Right. It seems that there is some issue with OAS server, and I was just checking about this halt. So it is getting halted on 82%. So probably it should not halt, rather than it should finish to 100. By this time it should have finished. So there is a constant error. People are reporting that OWASP is stucking on 82%. I just checked it out on Google and find out that OWASP is getting stuck on 82% something, right? So it says that there is some issue, might be some errors are there related to it. So probably it is not going till 100% and stucking on some values over here, even though we have provided all the things. So I just don't wanted to waste the time in this waiting for very long time. And you see it is eating away resources also. I'm constantly checking the usage. You see it is getting increased. Now it is reduced. Okay, so you see it says that OS has some error in updating data. Now, what is that error? It is unknown, maybe some Java related error. So this is not the problem what we have done. This is the problem from OASP server itself, right? So we cannot do anything about it. So it moved on. You see, it has not aborted the whole pipeline. So as it has unable to check the dependency report, it moved on. Now the build report has been created and everything has been set. Privy has actually done the checking. So it says Privy has done all kind of testing and it has not reported anything vulnerable. That means everything is okay. All things are fine. There are very less critical thing or something. Everything is seems to be fine only. Okay. So overall, you can see that it is fine. There is no worries to go about beyond this thing. So login successfully, everything has been done and code deployed successfully. It finished, but some errors was reported and that error is because of OAS, right? Now, if we go and use the IP address, copy and paste it here, go for 8000. You see your app is deployed. So problem was with OAS, right? The problem is not with our CI/CD pipeline. Everything we did correctly. So what you can do over here is instead of depending on OAS, we can ignore OAS. That's what we can do. Acha, now one more thing. So here you will also find OASP gateway details. So here it is going to explain you so many things about how the dependency check has been happened and all. So it happens sometimes, maybe 1 or 2 days if you try, you will find out that that issue will be resolved, right? So as of now, it says there is an issue, but ignore it. 1 or 2 days later, if you practice, it is going to work out properly. All right. Chalo. Now let's move on and let us see last few things. See, what I want is I don't want to write a pipeline on my own. I want the pipeline to be copied automatically from SCM, source code manager. So where is that source code manager? The source code manager is sitting on GitHub. Okay, so from here I want it to go to SecOps, or maybe just go to this simple code and get the simple code. Let's avoid OASP anyway. It will fail and long time will be wasted. So I don't want to go with OASP, right? So if you want, you can remove it and put it, but I want you to try with this OAS because in real time, in real world, we use these concepts. They are very much utilized. So as of now, I cannot just ignore it. I cannot just simply put a comment here and make it disable. That is not going to happen. So let me just leave this and I'll show you that how you can get a Jenkins files directly from here and it will work. So just over here, you have to remember that what is the address of your code. So here is your address. Just take the code, go back to your Jenkins. In Jenkins, we will go back to this project. Let's go for configure, for example, or maybe why to disturb it? Let's create one more pipeline. Let me create one more freestyle pipeline. I'll say git webhook pipeline, something. I'll say okay, give a description, uh, end to end automation. Now, every time I showed you that you are creating a pipeline or you are typing everything. Maybe I want to say get it automatically from GitHub. So you have to say pipeline from SCM, that is source code management. Now here, what is the SCM? Git. What is the repository address? Paste the repository address. If it requires a credential, you have to give credentials also. In our case, it's a public repository, so I don't really need it. You can ignore it. Okay. Now let us say save it. So I have not written any kind of pipeline here. What I did, I have asked it to get my pipeline from GitHub. Right now, if you say build now, let us see what's going on. Console output. See it connect to GitHub. It has started cloning repository, getting configuration, right? Git config successful. Selected Git installation does not available. Ignore it. Clone complete. Building is done. NPM testing is done. Scanning is finished. Deploy finished with previous error. What is the error? Okay, 1 minute. Let me look the Jenkins files. Is it no compose down is there? Then why it is not bringing it down? Okay, here might be some change in repository. We have mentioned Docker Hub creds with D capital. So some spelling things might work out over here like this. The rest of the thing should be fine only. Okay, let me commit the change. All right, so retry. Probably that might be the issue. So till build, there was no problem, but run npm work directory, copy everything, exporting, done. Code build completed. Let me do one thing, guys. I think here already some processes are running. Let us stop them. Okay. Docker stop. I want to stop this particular thing. Maybe already there is an existing container with that name, or maybe image is there. Okay, so sometimes space issue might also come. So let me say remove the images. Which image you want to remove? Uh, maybe this images. So many images got created. Let's retry. Okay, so it's proceed. So you see, it went to Jenkins. It brought automatically that code and it has deployed over here. Okay, so this is the way how it is going to work out, but still it is not automatic. You see, I have to manually come here and I have to say build. So then it is building. My requirement is what is, see, whenever a developer, right? Whenever a developer upload the code on GitHub, right? GitHub should inform Jenkins. It should say Jenkins that, hey, there is some code that is uploaded or there is one commit that has been made. So automatically the pipeline must be started by Jenkins. Okay, so all process should be automated. I should not manually do, but still I'll tell you that when the code is uploaded, we need some assistance. So we actually check the things and manually build it, but this process is also very much valid. So how can I tell GitHub that automatically connect whenever any commit happened, automatically this fellow should be updated. So in this case, first I have to go to GitHub. This is my repository, right? So in repository, you see there is an option called settings. Remember Sonar Cube, what we did? Same thing we will do here. Go to settings. In settings, you will find there will be an option on left hand side, web hooks. So go to webhook, add webhook, right? I'll say use the password, confirm. All right. So here it is asking you payload URL. So what is payload URL? Payload URL is the address of your Jenkins server. So let's copy this till here. Okay. So what we'll do, we'll come up over here and we'll type http colon double slash and this thing. And do not forget to add a keyword. What is the keyword? GitHub webhook. See, this keyword will be known by Jenkins. So Jenkins will know, acha, this particular fellow is doing something. All right. So http colon double slash IP address, port number, GitHub worker. And what is the content we are sharing? It is an application JSON related thing, right? Leave everything as it is and add a webhook. Okay. So here it says so far it is not pushed. Why it is not pushed? Because there is no change happen, right? So it will be like that only. Please ignore why it is telling not. Did I made any mistake? HTTP GitHub webhook. It's perfect only. Okay, let's wait for it. No worries. ping why it is failed. Okay, let's do one thing. Let us go to Jenkins. Let's go to configure. In configure, you see there is an option GitHub hook trigger git CM. You have to select it. That means if there is any change in Git things, it should inform you, right? Now, if you do this, it is going to contact you and it is going to work with you. Let's try it, guys. Redeliver. Why is this fellow not pinging? Give me a second, guys. Why is it not pinging the other side? Basically, it should be ping. Where is the mistake I'm doing? Seems to be proper only. I don't know why it is telling the pinging is also not working. Basically, it must ping and the result must get. Okay, let's do one thing. Let us try to make some change in the code and let's see will it going to work or not. Any change over here, it might tell us is it okay or not. All right. So let me go to a Jenkins file and can I make a small change somewhere? Where can we do a change? Maybe I'll remove one message. I'll change. I'll say deployment completed successfully this time. And let's commit. Basically, whenever you commit, what happens is it should be automatically starting the build job. So webhook might try to connect to our uh, Jenkins and Jenkins should receive it and it should start the build job. I don't know why the webhook is getting failed over there. Usually we do a lot with that. So if we go to settings under webhooks, it's again says fail. Let me add a webhook one more time. Let's copy the URL from here and let us paste it. HTTP and GitHub hyphen webhook. This is the keyword and it's a regular. Okay, let's keep the same thing as it is. Let me say send me everything. Okay, fine. Let's go back and let's see. So far there is no build process. Let's go back to code. Let's edit the Jenkins file. Actually, any file you want, you can change it. Let me say um, Jenkins completed successfully today. Let me commit the change. Let's go to other side and see if it starts or not. There should be an immediate process. Let's see what webhook says. Again, it is blocking. Anyway, guys, you just try out the same way what I have showed you. Possibly, I don't know why it is failing up, but when you select GitHub trigger, it automatically triggers and it gives us. And we have already given the repository address. There is no credential. It must work easily. And if you have any specific directory where it is kept, then you can say go to master and you can say add a subdirectory where the directory is available. So where is the subdirectory? Maybe I want to look into DevSecOps. So what it does, it is going to check out over here and it is going to add that directory if required. So in our case, it is just a main branch in which we are working. I don't know why these credentials are, you know, not pulling up properly. So basically, when you select GitHub hook trigger, it should, right? It should automatically get that particular thing. You can also add the GitHub project from here, from where to clone it. But this is not required because already here you have mentioned all the address, where to go, where to check, and you have also enable GitHub. So it must automatically get that. Right, I don't know why it is not taking up, but you just try it out and let me know, guys, if there is any issue you are facing. I'll try to help you out with this particular thing. So automatically it is going to pick up from the other side. From here it is going to take and it is going to send it. I don't know why this fellow is keep on failing and not able to connect to it, and where I said that send me everything. See, here you can select what kind of events in which you want to go for it. So maybe you can select only push events. So whenever the coder push it, you want to go for it. Otherwise, you don't really want it to go for it. Like that also you can say, or send me everything. Any change anybody has done, you can make it. Or you can select different options over here, that which thing that you want to receive. Only when the pushes are there, pull request is made, on that also you can work with that. But mainly whenever a coder push the code, it must send it and the communication must happen directly. I don't know why it is failing and not working this time. Yep, seems guys everything is fine, and I don't know why the webhook is giving issues to us. Probably in here, do I need to make any changes? Let me look into that. Okay, let me say git URL of git. Let me take it. No, I don't think we need to add this way. But it seems, I don't know, guys, that why it is not taking up from there. Usually there shouldn't be any error, as we have added the webhook also. So webhook should inform uh, Jenkins, and we have added it correctly only. So whatever we did is perfect. Maybe somewhere something is missing out, or some security issue is coming up. So I'll look into that and I'll update you guys that what was the problem, right? So overall, the project what we have done now, you might get an overview that how the things will go in real scenarios and how we have to work with that. So am I clear with this, guys, everyone? Right. Please try out the thing what we have seen, and this last part I don't know why it did not work, but I'll just look into it and I'll update you that what exact the problem was and how it started to work back. Thank you very much, guys. So please go ahead and start working on that. By tomorrow, we will upload all the resources in your Google Drive because nobody will be there in institute to upload anything. So Monday it will be done. Thank you very much, guys. Have a nice day. And in future also, if there are any projects, I'll invite you. Please join that. Thank you very much.